Be careful. You might learn something.
Let's go.
You are now tuned in to the Factual Opinions Podcast with your hosts. I am Pharaoh. Straight facts.
Welcome back, world. Season 5, Episode 1, Factual Opinions Podcast returns. We are calling this episode Justification for a number of reasons because I feel justified on everything that I'm about to unleash in 2025. It's your gracious host, I am Pharaoh, checking in with the Brown, Bruce Wayne, Big John.
Yes, sir.
Will West, the best Nate, will be joining us soon. You can blame your god brother, Will Johnson, for him being late, but that's another story.
Right.
We have a jam-packed episode, a lot of things that have transpired since we've been off the air, some things that popped up today. Unfortunately, Nate is going to miss where we're starting. Well, first of all, let me hold up this drip real quick,
Yeah,
for everybody. And again, I'm not liking how quiet it is from everybody, from your brother Calvin to our first guest ever, Tony Baloney, the great Bearcat legend, Tony Bobbitt, just everybody. Where's Reem at? Everybody, it is too quiet. So I'll hold this up while everybody tries to avoid getting their get back right now, because I'm going to have this on for quite a few weeks. So just hold that drip up there. You know what I mean? Do your chain hang low.
They gonna be quiet, man. They gonna be quiet, man. We live in this social media society, man. Everybody want to be front runners, man. You already know how that go.
Yeah, I just want consistency. That's all I want. If you're going to tune in on November 30th when they lose to that team up north, then make sure you continue to tune in when they hand out these ass whoopings that they've been, handing out as well. That's my only thing. Well, I guess I'll jump around a little bit while I'm waiting for Nate to show up. I'm going to try to do what he does too. Doesn't he usually tag people in the comment section to make sure? Because Facebook has been acting, really goofy as of late. So, we all have roles here at the Factual Opinions Podcast, and I usually rely on Nate to do that. So I may wait. I may try to do it, myself, just to get it going. In fact, I just shared it to the new Factual Opinions Facebook page. See if we can get some people in here. In fact, while we do this, so how's your new year been, Big John?
It started off shaky, man. We had some early deaths, and but we gonna work through that, man. That was God's plan, so can't nobody do nothing about it. We're gonna keep rolling because that's what they will want us to do, and we're gonna work out.
In bringing one of those up, let's go on and do that. Both of us lost a dear friend, and brother John Bennett, former Schroeder classmate, of ours. He was a few, grades underneath us, but a little brother nonetheless. I know you were a little bit more public about it, so were certain other people. I'm still kind of in shock, and like we talked about privately, I feel it just as much as anybody else, but we all process and deal with death differently, and it's something I'm not ready to deal with publicly, but maybe we'll use this show as a way to take a step forward in that. So, this is a brother that I had many private conversations with. Even though he went to Schroeder, I more or less met him or became friends with, him through you. As I said off the record, talked a lot. I supported his food business, Smoking Pineapple. He's a wonderful chef. Many a times I would call him up randomly, even when he wasn't doing the pop-ups, and I would just say, "Hey man, I got a taste for Smoking Pineapple," and he'd say, "Man, what you in the mood for?" And he whip it up. you know,
Right.
for you. It's always tough when you lose somebody that you actually know personally, and a good-hearted person on top of that, because that's in short demand, man, and that's what this world really needs is
Oh
thorough
yeah.
individuals. So
Yeah, man.
I'm gonna miss him. I know you're gonna miss him. Prayers and condolences to his family, the
For
Schroeder
sure.
family at large, everyone who knew John Bennett. It's gonna be a tough one, man. To
Yeah,
be
man.
honest.
Yeah. Yeah. Like you said, man, that was my little brother, man. And we he tried to get over to Shorter to play football with us, but he really couldn't make it. Moms had him over at Performing Arts. He was trying to go back and forth. He actually made it over there, once me, you, and O and everybody else got up out of there and played, his last season with Zeke and everybody else and Trent and everybody else, man. But yeah, it went from working with him and Marcellus at McDonald's being young men to getting older, becoming brothers, man, and carrying that brotherhood on, man. I'm gonna miss my little brother. You know, he was dealing with some health issues as well as some other things, and private talks and me being there for him, man, it really hit home. It really shocked me because, like I said, I was coming back from back in town from Louisville when I got a call from his sister, and it just like shook me. So, but yeah, man, my little brother was very aggressive, and he probably would tell me, man, stop crying, do what you need to do, pick yourself up, and keep going. So
Probably.
that's what I'm gonna do. And he probably would have said a little. He probably would have said a little bit more vulgar than that. I'm just giving you the.
Oh well, he definitely would have said it more vulgar than that. I can
I'm
guarantee
giving
you.
you the PG version, but nevertheless, man, he would tell me, man, I'm good. I'm in a better place, man. I'm good. So, uh, don't cry too much. Don't just keep pushing. So that's definitely what he would tell me. Even if he wasn't feeling that way, he would definitely tell me that.
Well, we still miss you, brother John Bennett, man. Always will. We would definitely keep repping and doing what you would, want us to do in your absence, for sure. Um, I don't know, and the crazy part about it is we talked about this off the record is, Big John, unfortunately, we getting up there, we're not spring chickens anymore either. And this is part of life, man. You start losing people that, you're close to and that have been there.
Mhm.
As you always put it, I've known you more years than I've not known you.
For sure.
And with that being the case, you always want to encourage people, particularly in these petty ass times that we live in. If it's somebody close to you, if it's somebody that you actually love and broke bread with and spent many years with, and it can work, um, make it work.
For sure.
Do what you got to do because life is too short. You know, um, I won't mention by name. Some people might be able to fill in the blanks. You know this because we talked to private. Recently I talked to a brother that has been a guest on this show. A few times, and friend of mine, and we kind of agreed to move past things and bury the hatchet in 2025. And this is just recently within the past week. So who knows? You might see him back on the show at some point as a guest host. But like I said, I just encourage anybody if it can be fixed and it's really worth it, and it's somebody that brings value to your life, not negativity, because we're all gonna have disagreements, at some point in life. That part
Right.
you can't avoid. But what you can
Right.
avoid is overreacting, personalizing stuff, taking it out of context and making it into an issue when it doesn't have to be.
For
So
sure. And even
I
and
encourage.
even besides and even besides negativity, man, we get so caught up in this thing called life that we don't even realize what we're doing half the time. And we can get busy and we won't even pay attention to the people that we care about. So, and we always live in this social media society where it's all about me, me, me. Well, they ain't checking up on me, forget them, and this and that. No, if you miss somebody, call them. It don't take that much for a text message. It don't take that much for a call. I would always check on my brother. If I didn't hear from him in a week, I'm calling him to see what's going on. And I do that with a lot of my friends, a lot of my family, because like I said, I don't really have friends. I have family and associates. If you're an associate, you're just a regular person. If you my friend, you my family. So I always try to do that, man. If I don't hear from the people I love in a while, I'm going to pick up the phone. And that's what we need to do because don't let death or anything tragic bring you together. And that's the bad thing. don't let just celebrations and tragic stuff bring you together. It only takes a phone call or a text message, man.
Yeah, I mean, and I've been through that scenario enough, especially with people, close to me that, when I think about somebody now, oftentimes, particularly if I am available, like you said, I'll try to drop whatever I'm doing and go ahead and call or reach out because worst thing you can do is have regret or something happen and that person not be, available. I think back to, um, former Purcell Marion athletic director and head coach, DJ Dowdy, who I coached on his staff. And literally the day that, he passed, um, something told me to reach out to him and I was going to, but I got too busy, like you said, with life and, and not that would have changed anything in the course of, action, but, that what if factor, is
Yeah.
something you got to live with forever, after, the fact. So again, and like you said, if you are thinking about somebody or that somebody crosses your mind, just go ahead and reach out to them.
Don't take much, man. And they may be wanting to hear from you, man. And God rest his soul too. The same thing kind of happened with, the first, one of the first fallen homies I had, which we all had, brother Larry Lee. He died the week of spring break, my first year in college. He actually called me on Wednesday. I got back to Cincinnati on Friday. He called me Wednesday, like, bro, we need to hang out, we need to kick it, bro. I miss you, blah, blah, blah. And literally, I got back home Friday and I was driving home the next day with my mom on Saturday and seeing the car accident and didn't even know it was him. But the fact that he called me the same week and I was going to reach out and I was going to get back, I just wanted to get home and settle.
Yeah.
Then he wasn't here no more. You know what I mean?
Boss Hog,
Yes, sir.
aka Ricky.
Yes, sir. Yeah, y'all know him as Larry. Y'all know him as Ricky.
Yeah, that's how you knew Larry Lee. Like if you called him Rick, like I did.
Yeah.
Like I don't ever remember actually calling him Larry, to be honest. But
I only called him Larry because he got shorter. He was always been Ricky to me.
yeah,
So,
now dog, like it's one of them things we're gonna continue to rep and miss. Brother John Bennett. Going forward, but I was trying to wait on Nate, but we'll go ahead and get into some of our sports topics. Number one. And this is where I wish Nate was here, but it is what it is.
yeah.
In the world of boxing, we had the Gypsy King, former unified heavyweight champion of the world, Tyson Fury, go ahead and call it a career.
Mm-hmm.
I personally want to congratulate and celebrate this man because he brought glamour back to a division that had really fallen on hard times.
Right.
The Klitschko's, as great as they were not exciting. There was no box office appeal, to them. The heavyweight division was a snooze fest. And the great former Emmanuel Stewart, world champion trainer Emmanuel Stewart, was the first one to point out after the Olympics in 2008. And I'm sure you've seen that video I posted before, where
Mm-hmm.
he pointed out and said Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury would be the future of the division, and they were.
Mm-hmm.
People can crack jokes and say what they want to say, but honestly, it was a three-headed monster. Tyson Fury, Deontay Wilder, and Anthony Joshua were responsible for basically running the heavyweight division the past 10 years and bringing interest back to that division. So I want to personally salute the colorful character, the Gypsy King, Tyson Fury, because not only was he skilled in the ring, he brought some of that charisma and pizzazz and shit talking, for lack of a better word,
For
back
sure.
into the sport.
For sure. For sure. For sure.
So
Anybody, man, that survived what Brother Fury survived, that came back multiple times. Like you said, was that brawler in the bar in them English pubs, man, being 6'8", 6'9", however tall he is. Don't look like he much of an athlete, but was probably one of the baddest athletes ever, man, just from what he could do in the boxing ring
yeah,
and move his feet. Because, people his size shouldn't be able to move the way he did being a boxer, you know.
yeah.
So most definitely, congratulations
To
on the
be to be
beautiful career.
6'9" and have that reach and still be able
Mhm.
to
Right,
and
right.
the movement and I know Deontay Wilder, a great champion in his own right, regardless of the jokes that people want to crack or whatever. I know that bothered him for the longest, that was the only stain on his record, and he just could not beat Tyson Fury. But brother, I'm sure people try to tell you, but that's nothing to sneeze at or to be upset about. You
Not at
lost
all.
to one of the greatest heavyweights of all time.
Not at all. Not at all.
So I appreciate that. I'd be interested to see what Tyson Fury's impact is beyond boxing too, because like you said, an individual that fought back against obesity, depression, drug use, was the only person to get knocked down by Deontay Wilder and get up
And
multiple times.
live to tell the story.
Yeah, that Undertaker meme where they played that music and he got up.
That's exactly what it was, bro. I watched all 3 fights with you and Nate. That's exactly what it was.
Yeah, that's gonna be classic.
Yeah.
Forever on there. So shout out to him. But we also had other news in boxing today for current superstars. So there is going to be, or at least being worked on or finalized as we speak, potentially a rematch between Ryan Garcia and Devin Haney.
Do you really
Who
want
have
to see that?
Yeah, I want to see it. Who have agreed to pause their lawsuit and make this fight potentially happen. They say they're in the closing stages of wrapping that up. Yeah, I want to see it because it was a good fight. And another reason I want to see it is for those, including Devin Haney's father, Bill Haney, who keep insinuating the only reason that Devin lost is because of the failed drug tests and PEDs of Ryan Garcia. That's why I want to see it again, because I have a feeling that I know what's going to happen again.
Right.
So I want to see it, and this time there be no excuses when Ryan Garcia wins.
Yeah, I agree. That's why I asked you want to see it again, because it's like the way he beat him down, man. It's just I don't care how many performance enhancing drugs you take, he put his paws on you. So
and the other interesting part will be what weight this fight takes place at, because I know Ryan Garcia had trouble making the weight, which is why he took whatever supplement. And we know Ryan Garcia is a nut job, but I still believe his explanation that he did not intentionally, do that. It was something ingested, given to him. It happens. Canelo had an incident, with that. I won't go into the long list of other fighters because I don't want to make it seem like I'm justifying, any of that. But yeah, that's why I want to see it more so than any other reason. And we can circle back when Nate gets here.
Right.
There was other news in college football today. The great Urban Meyer, the University of Cincinnati graduate, the 3-time national champion head coach at the University of Florida and the Ohio State University, was voted into the 2025 College Football Hall of Fame. Surprise, surprise. But congratulations to Coach Meyer. Clearly, one of the greatest college football coaches ever.
Oh, for sure. Without a doubt.
Undoubtedly.
Without a doubt.
One at Bowling Green, undefeated at Utah, 2 national championships in Florida, 1 at Ohio State. At a certain point, he had the greatest winning percentage, him and Newt Rockne, ever in college football history.
That's crazy.
You can forget about whatever happened in Jacksonville because his college football legacy is forever cemented.
Yes, sir.
So, do you have a favorite Urban Meyer moment, Big John?
Man, there's quite a few, man, but just his love for the game in general, man, and those teams that he put together at Florida, at Ohio State, all the young men that, he touched and put in the league, whether it be, Tebow, that whole gang of guys at Florida that I can make a laundry list of guys. Percy Harvin,
Dunlap,
Nelson, even had Cam Newton for a while.
Pouncey twins.
It's the laundry list goes on, man. But
that nut job that I don't know if we are supposed to mention him or not, but
Right. You know, Spikes and all those guys, man. Most definitely, man. And Ohio State guys, you know, he put in the league, you know, Zeke and everybody else, man. And
the
one,
Boza brothers, Von Bell,
right, 12
Marshawn Lattimore.
everybody, man.
Although 12 gauge was a Jim Tressel recruit, though.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
Yeah,
But yeah, man, just all the guys that he cultivated, those teams he put together. You have to have, I mean, you got to have the X's and O's, but the fact that he got all those young men to come and play for him and believe, man, this is just different. Like, you have to be a coach of that caliber. We only see that a couple times in the history of college football. You know, whether it's him, Saban, a couple other guys, you don't get that every day. So to be able to win and win multiple championships at different schools, that don't happen. You know, that don't really happen. You're lucky if you get one at one school. You know.
Yeah, I mean, for the vast majority of our lives, I couldn't even remember Bowling Green being on TV. You know, they had a couple years, I think, when PJ Pope, you know, was there where they might sneak on ESPN, but Urban Meyer had them ranked in the top 25.
That's crazy.
And when you see guys go from program to program and continue to win and win at a high level like that, you know it's the coach. And again, that's why I say what I say about Florida.
Sure. For sure.
You know, as a school, that their entire history revolves around Steve Spurrier and Urban Meyer because they don't have anything to show for it before or after. I mean, the only other national championship that wasn't won by Spurrier or Urban Meyer as a coach was Spurrier as a player back in the 1960s.
Right.
When he won one for the University of Florida. So shout out to Coach Meyer for being elected into the 2025 College Football Hall of Fame. And as I often tell people who always want to intertwine the two, NFL and college football, that's why they have a Hall of Fame for each. It's not the same thing.
It's not. And the fact that, like you said, he's won everywhere he went, and the fact that he did go undefeated at Utah, and Utah has become, you know, one of the Power 5 schools, and actually is still somewhat making noise, you know, coming out of Utah is wild. You know.
Yeah, I mean it links back to him because even the current coach was Kyle Whittingham, you know, was on Urban Meyer's staff.
Right.
So you know, at the end of the day, a lot of people, like I said, like to link the two. Tim Tebow is one of, somebody even said he might be the greatest college football quarterback of all time. He's in the discussion. You can't take that from him.
Yeah, he's in the discussion.
And I hate when people try to discredit what you did on campus versus, you know, the pros. Because there's many people. There's him. There's Ron Dane. You know, other people that it may not have worked out in the pros. And honestly, even Ron Dane, he didn't have a bad career. He just didn't have one that you would have expected because of his college career.
Right. Man, there's tons of guys we can name that had great college careers that didn't necessarily pan out of the league. Whether they were, I don't like using this word because anybody that I feel like that make it to the league that actually has some staying power is never a bust. But even the guys that we consider busts that probably didn't have the greatest NFL career, you can't take what they did in college. You know, whether it be, I'm gonna laugh when I say this, whether it be Ken Dorsey, whether it be, you know, Lindell White, my homeboy at USC. First of all, Lindell White has more touchdowns than the Prez, than the Juice, than Marcus Allen. No, he did not have the best NFL career. He had a couple years where he was serviceable and he did his job. But yeah, man, it's countless guys that we can name, you know, that had great college careers. Vince Young, a couple guys, you know, and some of them, their NFL careers didn't pan out, and sometimes it really wasn't their fault. But you know, college is definitely separated from the league, man. That's different levels. And there's some guys that had so-so college careers that end up being Hall of Famers. So, you know,
like your boy Frank Gore.
Oh yeah. Well, Frank Gore couldn't stay on the field because of injury.
I know why. I'm just
Right.
saying, he's a perfect
And
example of it didn't work out in college, be
right.
it injury or whatever, but in the pros, yeah.
Yeah, for sure. So it's a double-edged sword, man. It's definitely a double-edged sword.
While we're on the subject of college football,
Here you go. Here you go.
pretty big game coming up on Monday. There's a lot of things going on. First of all, as always, thank you to Dr. King for the sacrifices and what he did to change the landscape of this country. We wouldn't be able to do some of the things that we take for granted and do on a daily basis if it wasn't for Dr. King and his sacrifice and leading the civil rights movement and ultimately giving his life towards the cause. So
Right.
that is Monday first and foremost. Also, we have the inauguration on Monday, and I'm not going to get deep into that, but all I'm going to say
Right.
is, it, if you're an American, you're an American,
Yeah,
and it makes you no better than whoever you disagree with to have opposition to, ignore, and/or discredit what else is happening on Monday.
for sure.
You can't be okay with it when they do it, and then when something happens or somebody gets elected that you didn't vote for, or whatever the case is, or just that you don't support, do the same thing. So
We still
that's
got to live
happening
together.
Monday. What did you say, Big John?
Still got to live together.
Yeah, that's happening Monday. But I'll be honest, you know where my attention is and what I'm focused on. Come Monday, as the Ohio State Buckeyes look to win their ninth championship in school history, first one in 10 years versus Notre Dame. And this is something else I want to say. I haven't really made any post about it, so I'm sure this will end up being a teaser clip. But Marcus Freeman, a very articulate, smart brother, up and coming superstar in the coaches rank, and in my opinion, a guy that I sat over there at the barbershop many a Saturday. God rest his soul, Jihad, who we both used to get cut by in the barbershop over in Bond Hill. And Marcus Freeman would sit there and he would shoot the what with you like a regular guy. We would talk sports. At the time he was the defensive coordinator at the University of Cincinnati. He would put up with all my Buckeye questions and talk and stuff from his playing days at Ohio State. But just
Right.
in general, he would, talk NFL. We have regular debates like, you do in the barbershop or with your buddies. He would
Right.
remember your name the
Oh, for
next
sure.
time you walked in, hey Alex, what's going on? So I have a ton of respect for Marcus Freeman and wish him well on almost every other scenario that comes about with him coaching. With that said, I don't give a damn come Monday. You know who I want to win. He's already made the statement it has nothing to do with where I went to school. I get that, and he has to say that in his current position, but
Right. Right. Right.
um you've even had some people take it as far as, oh, I want to see him win, become the first brother to win a national championship in college football history. I hate to say this, Big John, but it kills me when black folk decide what they want to band together on and be in support of. You can't get them to do nothing in unison except vote for President Obama. And now all of a sudden they want to get on this black power trip,
But
and
man,
I'm rooting for
what
Marcus
that is,
Freeman.
man. You know what it is. If their rooting interest didn't make it, they're gonna find some reason to, like I said, like even I'll take it a step further. Even with I don't really have. I root for the home team. I don't really have a favorite NFL team. I have a favorite college team. I don't really have a favorite NFL team. But when all my rooting interest, fails, I do support certain guys and I want to see them win, whether it be Big Trust or a couple other guys. But that's what they're doing, man. When they root interest don't win or they don't get in, all right, the black man in it, I want to see the black man win. That's all that is, bro.
Okay, and I'm Uncle Ruckus, so that's all that is.
But like I said, this, your team made it. You deserve to do what you got to do. Like I said, if he was playing against my Canes, if my Canes was blessed enough to make it, I love Freeman, but I don't want to see him. I wouldn't want to see him win. Sorry.
So, also, since we've been, off the air, the semifinals obviously took place. Notre Dame beat Penn State. Thought James Franklin was going to get it done and be able to advance, but Notre Dame won. And you know me, I'm a tradition nut anyway, so I love the Blue Bloods, being in there, Ohio State, Notre Dame, those classic fight songs. So I'm with it. I think it's great. I think for the second year in a row, there will not be an SEC team that wins the national championship. First time since 04-05 that happened,
Right.
Which is wonderful and music to my ears and a lot of other people around the country. As what I said and predicted has started to happen. People can get mad all they want. I said this would happen, and don't simplify it by saying, "Oh, it's NIL, this and that," because that's only a part of it.
Parity was bound to get back into college football. It was bound to do it, whether it was NIL, transfer portal. It was bound to get back to it. And also, teams are getting better. Kids are not going to the same school. Kids are not ganging up or going to here just because he can put me in the league. Some of them just want to play football and want to have a chance to play and go elsewhere. It just happens that way. And
not sit on the bench for 2 or 3 years.
Right, and there are also coaches, like Brother Freeman and like Prime and like a couple other coaches, that are giving these kids opportunities to play. And then you have a team like Indiana, who are up and coming that are playing ball. So it was bound to happen eventually, man. Nothing lasts forever. Like we talked about last episode, yes, SEC had a 12-year run. It is what it is. But the 12-year run is over now.
You being generous doing that because I usually say it's 2006 to 2012 because as Ryan Clark said and other people we discussed off the air, the whole conference is taking credit for by and large the success of 2 or 3 schools during that run.
Right, for sure. For sure. And like I said, we always talk about it. Every conference is top heavy. And like I said, they're taking credit for, Alabama, Georgia, LSU. Auburn got one, and Florida got those 2 in the past couple years. So
I don't want to offend Big Willie, but like I said, I don't even count that Auburn one because Cam Newton would have did that anywhere. So
he definitely would have. He definitely would have. But and me and Calvin was talking about that too. You can't name more than 2 or 3 people off that Auburn team, and one of them is Cam Newton, and one of them is Farley. You probably can only name 2 or 3 people at the most off that team. Like you said, Cam would have did that anywhere. But the win is a win. They did win. Yeah. So
at the end of the day, though, my beloved Buckeyes are favored, as they should be.
Of course.
Jack Sawyer, Captain Jack, as we refer to him as. Man, that was poetic justice. You couldn't write a better Hollywood script than that. The reason I say that is Jack Sawyer was the number 1 ranked player on the ESPN recruiting rankings in the entire country coming out in the class of 2021.
Mm-hmm.
That class that he came in with was loaded. Travion Henderson's, everybody. A lot of them could be playing on Sunday right now, but chose to come back for 2 reasons. One, they wanted to beat that team up north, which we all know did not take place, and they wanted to win a national championship. That they still have the opportunity to do. This young man took a lot of heat when he refused to let that team up north plant the flag in the middle of his field and disrespect his school, his team, his state. A born and bred Ohio kid who, like most of us, grew up playing football would have dreamed and loved play for the Buckeyes. He actually got to live out that opportunity. And I understand the passion that drove him not to let that happen and the despair, how upset he was. How fitting him of all people gets that strip sack against Quinn Edwards and takes it back to the crib to seal that victory in the college football playoff semifinal.
For sure.
Can't write a better story.
No, you can't. You can't at
A
all.
guy that who has consistently defended his head coach publicly throughout the criticism that he's received and everything going the Buckeyes' way after November 30th. Couldn't happen to a better guy. And when he came screaming around that edge, I know you saw it too, Big John.
Mm-hmm.
You knew what was going to happen before it happened, did you?
Oh yeah, for sure, for sure. You know, I didn't think he was gonna run it back, but I knew he was gonna cause some havoc.
Yeah, but he hit him with that swim move, and I said, "Uh-oh."
Oh yeah. Especially, man, when you time it up where you know the quarterback don't see you, and it's just a car crash after that.
And you know what they call it, or have been calling it, and they say, and they were roommates. Because him and Quinn Edwards were roommates before he transferred and left Ohio State to go back down to Texas.
Right.
How sweet it is.
Right. Most definitely. Uh-oh.
I just added Nate to the broadcast.
What's up, y'all? My bad. Been an eventful evening. Was over there with the Schroeder Jaguars basketball teams. So now I'm taking this long ride home. So, but I'm here.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, our dear friend Will Johnson.
He over there stressed out. They was making him mad, but they'll be all right. It'll be all right. Ain't nothing new.
So did they win or lose?
They lost last night. They lost by 8. Gamble's number 1 in their division. So Gamble's got a young core. Shout out to my brother Stevie Horton. They played a real patient game with them. So Schroeder was fighting back the whole game. Went back and forth for a minute. But yeah, they couldn't. They ended up not pulling it off. But shout out to Stevie and them guys at Gamble as well. But Schroeder, they got another one Friday. They play Euler at Euler. Euler beat them at Schroeder last go around, and so they can get their revenge going this time around. Hopefully on Friday.
Was Newberry there?
Nope.
Wow.
Nope. He was already gone by the time I got there.
Well, anyway, Nate, we'll recap what you missed. I tried to delay a little bit getting into the whole boxing thing because there's been a bunch of boxing
Oh yeah, there's a whole lot of news going on today.
News today. But first, we gave tribute to the Gypsy King for announcing his retirement and restoring interest in the heavyweight division and being one of the greatest fighters ever in that division.
I got a question for you though.
Yep.
Does he go down as one of the top 3 out of Great Britain?
Yes.
Got another question.
Well, let me
Go ahead.
Elaborate a little bit on that, because if we're talking heavyweights from the United Kingdom, it's Lennox Lewis and him.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So he would have to be top 3.
What do you say? He top 3. He top 3. He ain't 3.
Right. It ain't Frank Bruno, I can tell you that.
Was Shannon Briggs from the States, or was he from over there? No, Shannon Briggs from here.
Shannon Briggs is from Brooklyn.
Yeah, he is.
Brownsville, the same neighborhood as Mike Tyson.
Yep.
Same neighborhood as MOP.
Yeah.
Look, when Mike Tyson calls you crazy,
that's
crazy.
how bad it is. Yeah. Crazy is a different level.
Shannon the Cannon is nuts.
Yeah, that was he was a different level.
Right.
Okay, so this is my next question. Since you said that, Who you got one? You got Lennox or you got him as one?
It's definitely Lennox.
Okay.
Well, back when I did used to pay attention to boxing, and the heavyweight division was my division that I paid attention to, Lennox Lewis was one of my favorite boxers. So, yeah.
Now, the better question, and one I probably wouldn't have an answer for you right now, would be what would happen if those two in their prime
I was getting ready to go
squared
there.
off against one another.
I think Lennox would shoot.
I mean,
I just
with
can't
Lennox,
go against a man that just beat drugs. I can't. It's kind of
well,
hard.
the reason why I still say Lennox, I'm not saying because Lennox is probably bigger than the guy that he just fought, but Lennox is still athletic enough to move around.
Yeah.
So
Lennox used to move around the ring.
So I still think Lennox would probably give the Gypsy King trouble because he's probably a little bit more, if not same athleticism, probably even more
I think
athletic.
the Gypsy King would give him trouble too with his movement, though.
Oh, for sure. We'll never know, but I'm still gonna go with Lennox.
That would be a fight of who can touch who first.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, I really wish there was a time machine where we could get some of these fights off because we never saw Riddick Bowe versus Lennox Lewis, which, I think the boxing public was robbed. Well, they did fight each other in the Olympics, but I mean, as professionals, um, I would give, I don't know what, to see Sugar Ray Leonard versus Floyd Mayweather.
Yeah.
Right.
That's a dream. That would have been a dream.
Yeah.
Or Ali versus Mike.
Yeah.
See, I've never been as excuse me. I've never been as big on that as some other people because I just think that it would have been a mismatch. If you look at, and we're talking Iron Mike in his prime. Hold on, I gotta get some water. We're talking about Iron Mike in his prime too. So, and he did beat a lot of 6'3", 6'4", even 6'5" guys. People don't give him credit for. But if you look at the guys that gave Mike trouble in his prime, they were superior boxers who were taller and were strong enough to keep him on the outside, who beat him.
Mm-hmm.
We
Holyfield,
talk Holyfield, Buster Douglas.
Buster Douglas.
I really don't even count. I mean, it happened, but clearly Mike was past his prime, and at no way, shape, or form was going to beat Lennox Lewis on that night.
No.
Now,
Hell no.
had Mike fought Holyfield and Lennox Lewis in 1992 and 1993 like he was supposed to, I wholeheartedly believe Mike would have beat them. Because if you watch Tyson versus Razor Ruddock and some of those bigger guys and the way he dispatched Trevor Berbick to become the youngest heavyweight champ of all time at age 20, the blueprint is there.
Yeah.
He fought other taller guys, even guys he didn't knock out but clearly beat, like
He beat
Tony,
Bruno for a belt after
Tucker.
getting out of jail.
You still feel it?
But that wasn't Mike. I mean, like, physically he could still move around a little bit, but I'm talking about before jail.
You talking about 92, 93, Mike.
I'm talking about before the 3-year layoff where he was sitting in a prison cell rotting. So I'm talking about when he beat guys like Bone Crusher Smith and Tony Tucker. These are guys that are 6'5",
Mm-hmm.
Elite boxers that he did beat.
So you still feel like he would have beat Holyfield? Holyfield ain't that much bigger than him. I mean, he's bigger than him tall wise.
I feel like
he's
No,
not
he
that
has
much.
the physique.
That would have been like an even keel kind of size range. Pause.
Yes, but again, we're talking about Mike in his prime. It's similar to when I say, Ali or Cassius Clay in his prime. They talk about it all the time. Yeah, he beat Joe Frazier in the second and third fights, to have a 2-1 advantage over him. But and Nate knows this, the young Ali would have run circles around Joe Frazier in that first fight.
For sure.
It wouldn't even have been, close. And that's how people had to look at it. Because if we're talking about a specific time frame, so we're talking about Mike Tyson after he beat what was his name? Michael Spinks.
Yeah.
When he was at the peak of his powers. It's like saying let's watch Kobe versus Jordan 1-on-1. We take, '02, Kobe versus '92 Mike. That's how I look at it. If we could create a time machine and do it at their peak powers. So yes, I believe Mike would have beat Holyfield if he fought him when he was originally planning to, and I believe he would have fought and beat Lennox because I don't think Lennox was at his peak or prime in '92 either.
No, he wasn't.
The Lennox we
I
know and think about was an experienced Lennox, in our late childhood.
Right. Right.
I think, to be honest, I think Mike would have beat Lennox. Mike, I don't think, to be honest, I'm gonna say it like this though. Just based off of what we've seen with Holyfield, a young Holyfield and Mike,
That would have
I
been a
don't
great fight
know
to
if
watch.
it'd have been a great fight. I don't know if Mike would have beat Holyfield because at that age, Holyfield had mastered the jab. The jab and the 1-2 was a mastered thing by Holyfield at that time.
But Mike at that time, and I'm gonna get even more specific, before he parted ways with his original trainer Kevin Rooney,
Yeah,
Mike was a defensive wizard at that time with the
yeah, he
peekaboo,
was. The peekaboo,
style.
yeah,
He still moved his head. He wasn't just a head hunter offensively. He put combinations together and stuff like that he quit doing when he would
yeah,
just
because he
go
was
in
putting
there
people down with
specifically.
body shots.
See, and that's what people fail to realize. Like Mike was what I've always considered to be a boxer puncher.
Hmm.
He just hit harder than anybody other than uh, Big George. But the original Mike Tyson that was trained by Custody Model, Teddy Atlas, and Kevin Rooney was a boxer.
Hmm.
He just sets you up for those monster shots. When he stopped moving his head and he went in there, and I'm talking about the Don King years and stuff, and he was going in there specifically looking for a knockout instead of setting it up and just being a boxer and letting it happen, that's when
Right.
Mike got in trouble. That's when his
Yep,
skills eroded.
Right.
that's how
I
Buster
agree.
got him.
I agree.
Well, that Buster was always a perfect storm, man. That's one of them
It
once in a
was.
lifetime things. And
Yeah.
even that, I tell people like Buster Douglas may not have always wanted to be a fighter, and that was his problem. And he hit the refrigerator a lot, but
Yep.
he was still the son of a professional fighter too. So
Yep.
Hmm.
so
He
Buster
was.
Douglas wasn't, chopped liver. And that night, as we always say and talk about, 3 weeks leading up to the fight, his mama died.
Yep.
Right.
There is no in between. There's only one or two, actions that's going to take place after that. Either we call off the fight because I can't concentrate right now, we postponing it, or somebody getting their ass whooped.
Right.
And the latter happened that night.
Yep. It was an ass whooping.
He still got his ass whooped.
He had all the motivation in the world. You ain't fearing nothing at that point. Your mom died,
Yep.
so there's pretty much
Mom
nothing else.
gone.
Yeah,
Nothing too fear.
that can happen at that point. And if all accounts are true, which it was, Mike was up, screwing around, with them Japanese women over there in Tokyo,
And the booger sugar.
and snorting coke and drinking and when Bobby Brown tells you, champ, I think you ought to go to sleep.
Yeah, that's bad. That's bad when Bobby got to tell you
That
that.
should have been that funny, but that was funny.
You wouldn't focus on the fight.
Right. Right.
And by all accounts, all of that happened the night before the fight. So that's what it. Brother Dewan showed up. He said, "Let's go Notre Dame."
Hey man, brother Darkness, we
And he
tired of
just
you.
got out of my car and already on mess.
I was so mad at Brother Dewan. Now he told me that he wasn't trying to duck the smoke, because I said, "Man, you tune in every episode for me, brother, and you just happen after Roll Tide went down to disappear." He wasn't on social media or nothing. And I said, man, I don't even go hard on Roll Tide like that. Just for you and my cousin Bernard down there in Birmingham,
Right.
who still is saying, man, we should have beat the brakes off of Michigan. I said, well, join the club. We got T-shirts, brother. But
Right.
it didn't happen for the second year in a row.
Mm-hmm.
So this is for you, brother Dewan, and everybody else. You know what I mean?
Right. I feel you.
I just gotta hold it up for y'all to see, because it's gonna be
Big
a
boy
lot of this
thing.
in the coming weeks, man. You know, I can't let people off the hook. Everybody was so mouthy and had, something to say, particularly after November 30th. Well, it is what it is. He said, nah, my phone was off at that time. But,
Right. Your phone was off.
all right.
Well, but
What she say on Baby's kids? He said my phone was off to a see. Funny enough, I get your answer machine. He
right.
said, "Oh, I can get income. I just can't dial out."
Right. Right. That's funny.
He said, "Just win, please. That's all I'm gonna say." I mean, I don't have any evidence to the contrary. I mean, anything can happen, but I don't have any reason to believe that it's not gonna happen. I mean, I tried to tell y'all that team up north is a whole different game. It's a whole different mindset going into it. It's just different. It is, and it has become a mental thing for Coach Day that he's gonna have to overcome. But the rest of the country don't have that benefit. And as long as Chip Kelly and Ryan Day call a decent offensive game plan like they've done, with the exception of the second half of the Texas game, they'll be fine. This is the same team that it's been all year as far as the players. And that's another thing. Thank you for bringing that up, because I wanted to make sure that I made this into teaser clip as well. Kirk Herbstreit went into detail and combated this whole narrative that has pissed me off the entire year about this whole, they spent $20 million on NIL. Okay. So the reality of it is that 9 of Ohio State's 11 starters on defense have been there for 3 or more years. Has nothing to do with NIL. Secondly, yes, they did go out and replace their quarterback this year in Will Howard. But beyond that, this is pretty much the same team. They added Quishon, Judkins to split time with Travion Henderson, but you'll see how explosive Travion Henderson, still, is out of that backfield on offense. Seth McLaughlin didn't even make it through the season without getting hurt. Center that transferred from Alabama. I want everybody to do their research, because we call this program Factual Opinions for a reason. At least I do, which is partly why it was named like that by me and Brother Curtis originally. I want you to go look at what school spends the most. And I'm not talking about NIL. I'm talking about just to, open up the doors, feed the kids, recruiting budget, facilities, everything else. I want you to look at who spends the most yearly on their football program. What school? NIL aside. And it's been this way for over 2 decades. Longer than that, really. Does anybody have any idea who or what program spends the most money on their football program?
Mm-hmm.
The Ohio State.
It ain't Alabama. It ain't Florida. It ain't SC. It ain't Notre Dame. See, because people get caught up on who they root for or who they like. I'm just giving you facts. And if you want to poke holes in anything I'm saying, go look it up. Okay? They paid $20 million in NIL because they have it to pay $20 million in NIL to keep their own players and for them to go out and explore opportunities and get paid for what they do. Okay? That's why it happened. And these kids still wouldn't come to Ohio State if they didn't want to, or there wasn't a benefit. What school has produced the most all-time first-round NFL draft picks? Anybody want to guess?
I do.
It ain't an SEC
The
school.
Ohio State University.
Notre Dame is number 3. USC is number 2 on that list. So the SEC ain't even top 3. Again, rooting interests aside, go poke holes in my story if you think I'm lying or just on here talking stuff. Okay, there's a reason for all this. I'm just saying. And people get so mad when you say that. And I understand because college football is regional and there's pride and where you're from and where you're raised or your family or just the school that you like and the fight song, blah, 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 blah. I get all that. Don't get mad at me for pointing out why the is the school. Just go look it up. Has nothing to do with NIL. Like I said, we would do that even if there wasn't NIL. But let's be honest. It's just legal now to show what you're doing. Ain't that right, Big John?
Oh, for sure.
Y'all just missing Shapiro and Uncle Luke.
I think they hurt Luke feeling. Luke ain't coming back.
They probably did.
Yeah, I think.
Well, the quarterback from Georgia just transferred down there.
Man, we don't want him.
Who?
We don't want him.
Beck, the quarterback from Georgia, just transferred to the U.
Oh yeah, back there go to Miami. That's right.
If he comes and he plays ball, okay. But I ain't seen nothing that I want as far as being a Miami fan. Sorry. Now maybe he proved me wrong, but I don't see nothing.
So that's all I'm saying, Brother Dewan and everybody else. Me and Brother Dewan had this conversation, and I was messing with him, but I was partially serious. Like when I told him, and it wasn't me rooting against Roll Tide, but I told him, I said, look, man, I said if they lose one more, they ain't going to the playoffs this year. Mm-hmm. And I highlighted those last 3 games, and I said if they lose one of these, man, it's a wrap. Now it remains to be seen on whether my other prediction about what's going to happen minus Nick Saban comes true. Right. I didn't expect it to happen in year 1.
Mm-hmm.
But there's going to be some pressure on old boy down there. In fact, there already is.
Right. I told you it was a guy on ESPN, one of their super fans calling from his job asking, well, how can we get this man out of here?
Well, he had the unenviable task of...
They already trying to get rid of him?
Yeah, because he's coming behind Nick Saban.
Tough. Yeah, it's tough. Real tough.
No matter what he did, other than come in and win a national championship right away, it was going to be considered a failure.
That's a fact.
So, it's like the dude replacing Coach K at Duke in college basketball, or I flash back to Earl Bruce trying to replace Woody Hayes at Ohio State. Earl Bruce is in the College Football Hall of Fame too. All he did was go 9-3 a bunch of times, but it wasn't good enough because you followed somebody that was there from 1951 to 1978 and won 5 national championships. Like you can't equal it. Or Tim Floyd in basketball, following Phil Jackson with the Chicago Bulls. Now, granted, he didn't have a chance in hell with that roster, but still.
Right.
He said, I don't like Notre Dame. I just give y'all a hard time because y'all give me a hard time about our season. Sound like Dusty Road with all them hard times. The American dream. He said,
he's the catchphrase king, boy. Him and Ric Flair.
He said, I've dined with kings and queens, and I've slept in the alley on pork and beans.
Right.
Hard time. Well, if and when it happens, Brother Dewan, at least you can say I told you so, brother. I tried to cushion.
That's all you want, ain't it?
I tried to cushion the blow as much as I could because you have to remember, yes, I'm going to pat myself on the back a little bit because I was the one that predicted this and told everybody that the entire country overreacted from that 2006 to 2012, run, for the SEC, and then tried to take credit for the success of essentially 2 or 3 schools, after that. And I told everybody this was going to happen. Now, did it happen as quickly as I thought? No, but I'm like, the rest of the country adjusted. There was parity in college football before the transfer portal and the NIL. It just made it worse once it happened.
Right.
And people got tired of that. And like I said, there were other things outside of football. I always joke when I say it, I'm not trying to be funny, but it like that whole post Tyler Perry, Lil Wayne Renaissance, as I call it, that was something real. The culture of hip hop and everything switched to down south and Atlanta and stuff. There were other factors that were making it cool for cats to go down south and go to these, schools that wasn't previously, happening. Duane said they got to give that man a chance. I mean, I feel that way, but the expectations in Tuscaloosa kind of like the expectations in Columbus and a few
They
other
ain't giving that
places.
man no chance.
Losing is not tolerated. Now, eventually, like I said, when y'all have more of these Sean Alexander years that I said are coming, then maybe the next guy will get more of a pass than this guy's getting, but he ain't gonna get one. That's just how it is. He said, "Hey, I knew it was gonna be hard for him. I wasn't losing about it. He got some big shoes to fill." I mean, that's what it is. Y'all were so spoiled with the old man and that operation that he had going. Whoever replaced him wasn't. I said, and I don't know that this would have even worked, but I said, man, anybody outside of Dabo returning to his alma mater down there and taking the round, I don't think anybody else was gonna be able to hit the ground running there.
Not at all.
And I still feel like Dabo's on the back end of his run.
Yeah.
And they say, yeah, he done. um,
You can't follow a legend, man. That's difficult to do, especially year one. That's almost impossible to do.
yeah. So I think, we all would pick, to go on and handle, business. Dewan, it's a team of
I
destiny.
can say, excuse my man.
Even I couldn't predict what was going to happen after that devastating loss on November 30th. But I do again want to give a whole lot of kudos to Ryan Day for being able to right this ship, keep his guys engaged and locked in. Because for 99% of other people, they would have came out and got dusted in that game against Tennessee and not been able to recover mentally from what happened. And listening to all the noise and even your own fan base turning on you. And I'll be honest, y'all know me, I was one of the biggest Ryan Day supporters on the planet. But yes, I went into bucknut mode after November 30th, and I'm still on record as saying what I said. I said anything other than him winning the national championship is not going to give him a pass in Columbus. And if/when he does on Monday, that's still only going to give him another pass until the last Saturday in November of 2025. It's just how it is at that university.
Are we
Some
going?
people
If
think
they,
it's
if they have a
crazy.
parade, are we going? Do they have a parade up there if they win?
They do, but I mean, if it's during the week, I'm not gonna be able to make it.
Yeah, most likely will, won't
I had to tell Jeff to throw on that cowboy hat and make an appearance for us. But no, I want to give, like I said, Ryan Day his flowers. Now he has one job to finish, and this season, but a masterful coaching job and proving right what I said to Brewski and others that he is easily still one of the top 3 or 4 coaches, in America.
for sure.
So transitioning a little bit, we're gonna stick with football, but I made a post about how influential those 3 disregarded running backs, were headed into this season.
Mm-hmm.
The Joe Mixon, the Derrick Henry, the Saquon Barkley, and all of their teams are moving on to the divisional round.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that's a coincidence, fellas.
I don't either. Not at all.
It's not.
That position that they keep trying their best to devalue certainly showed up big.
For sure, it definitely did. I think the biggest thing that stands out to me, they all had big games.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure.
Big games.
Well,
All
and Joe
had big games.
Mixon, aside from injuries and Saquon Barkley, King Henry, like you said, I can't really think of a dud that any of them had all year. I mean, they literally have helped carry their teams to where they're
Aren't they
at.
all top five? Top. They all top 10. We know that.
Yeah, and definitely Joe Mixon, put the Texans over the edge with some of the injuries that they've had,
Yep.
you know, this year. So I'm looking forward to see what they do. But now that we're in the divisional round of the playoffs, does anybody want to change or just who would be your Super Bowl picks now where things sit based on who's left?
Is my team still alive? I had Pittsburgh. That was one. That was stupid. That was just dumb.
Glad you said it.
Um,
Yeah, I'm gonna let you say it.
yeah, that was pure stupidity. Sorry.
Now, at the
I,
beginning of go ahead, Nick. Go ahead.
my Eagles still around. The Eagles still there.
At the beginning of the season, I had the Lions and the Texans. Then I switched it up and I said, I don't know if it's going to happen, but I would want to see the Eagles and the Ravens.
No, I said Ravens and Lions, didn't I? That's what I said the second time we did the picking.
Yeah. So
I
I
said the Ravens
I
and the
put the
Lions.
Ravens and the Eagles. I think I'm going to stick with the Ravens and the AFC. Eagles, they worry me, man. Sometimes they look like world beaters. Sometimes they don't.
Yeah.
And I don't know what Dan Campbell is up there doing in Michigan, but no matter what hump they seem to hit, bro, they rolling over it, bro.
Yeah.
They rolling over it, man. Detroit is just playing, even with injuries and all, they're still playing tough.
That's what I like about Detroit is because, and that's the mark of a real head coach, in my opinion. No matter who's out there and available or not, and arguably losing, your best, player overall, definitely your best defensive player in Aiden Hutchinson. There's been no excuse making. It's been full steam ahead.
Mm-hmm.
The organization, who often gets criticized as well, the Ford family went out and made a trade for Zadarius Smith to try to upgrade that pass rush situation afterwards, and he's kept them going. They've had a lot of
Y'all
injuries where a
Super
lot
Bowl
of
there.
other teams would have been eliminated.
Mm-hmm.
Of the teams left, I'm going to pick Detroit, and I'm going to go on and give it to Big Trust, and put my faith in him for him to get it done this year. If not, he's going to enter that Chris Paul category for me, where
Oh
it's
yeah,
like,
he's gonna be
look,
in that. He
man,
gonna be in that line of fire.
you had your opportunity. I don't feel sorry for you no more. Yada yada yada.
Because this year, I mean, just like any other year, but this year he's gonna have to beat Allen, and he's gonna have to beat Mahomes if Mahomes get past the Texans. So,
Look
The
who showed
Texans
up,
might be
y'all.
sneaky this weekend.
I agree. You don't
Old
know what Eagles you
old
get.
Ream showed up. Said, don't know what Eagles team you gonna get. Before we get into that, Ream, I am just so happy to see you, brother. You have been so quiet as of late. And I missed you on here, man. I needed the camaraderie. I needed the participation and support that you usually provide. Now, I have my theories on why you might be quiet, and I won't get into that. But I'm glad to have you back, brother. I really am.
From his profile picture, like he was practicing his art. Right.
Hey Ray, you know he was gonna talk his mess, man. You knew it was coming.
Well, I mean, you know what Reem's gonna say, like every fan of the Amazing Blue. November 30th. Oh, okay, whatever. So, just keep saying that while you're sitting at home. So,
Mhm.
but I'm glad that Reem is back. He said he wants to see the Ravens and the Eagles.
I don't want to see the Ray. I don't want to see the Eagles. I just don't feel like that would be a good game.
I want to see the
You know,
Ravens.
I
If
wouldn't
it's the
mind
Ravens,
seeing the Eagles because as I've always said, that's the only other team that I kind of pay attention to in the NFL. I wouldn't say I'm a fan. I'm only a fan of the Bengals, but the Eagles are the only team that I wish well. The only thing I'm gonna say is I still think Detroit is like America's team. Like
Yeah, we
if
want to see.
anybody can identify with the pain of Cincinnati Bengals fans, it is the Detroit Lions fan base.
but like you,
Now,
but like, go ahead, bro.
no, I was just gonna say the only downside is it's cold outside, but it's gonna be a cold day if the Lions get to hold that Lombardi Trophy before
Oh man,
the
What do you, what,
Cincinnati
what Andre
Bengals.
3000 say on the Four Brothers? It's cold out here when you by yourself.
Right.
It's cold, but like I said before, man, they chugging along. You lose, like you said, your probably your best player on the team, and obviously your best player on defense. You lose your running back B. You lose Montgomery.
Look at me.
You lose your running back
Hey, you
B.
know what? I expect nothing different from Reed. That is so hilarious, man. But you know what the bad part is? Like, I almost agree with Reed, and y'all know me. Like deep down in my heart, I kind of do. But at the end of the day, that's not what the stat book is gonna say. It's gonna say that they lost to that team up north, but they're still a national champion. And they still beat everybody's ass, including two SEC teams and what was supposed to be the number one ranked team in the country, who, again, Swami says, predicted was going to happen when they played Oregon again. Did I
yeah,
not? It's on record. And this is a good boxing analogy. We're going to get back to the NFL. I tried to explain to John because he said, well, man, you still can't discredit Oregon's win in October. And I said, yes, I can. Because a win is a win, but as Tyler Boyd would say, there's levels to this. I always looked at it, and the reason why I knew Ohio State was going to crush them in the rematch is I said Oregon won by 1 point at their home field, 3 time zones away in the tip top of the Pacific Northwest in Eugene, Oregon, complete with trick plays and onside kicks and everything they could do to win by 1 with still a favorable offensive pass interference call at the end of the game to allow them to do that. So I said, looking at that, I'm like, so Ohio State, they didn't play a bad game, but clearly did not play their best. Oregon did everything they could, was playing without their best defensive player. One of their wide receivers decided to be an idiot, spit in somebody's, face, got kicked out of the game. I said, okay, so they're gonna be full strength coming back, but so is Ohio State, and they've had the benefit of being on the field with this team and studying tape on this team, and knows how close that game was, and they probably should have won that game still too. I said I don't have any reason to believe, especially on how they played against Tennessee opening the playoff, to believe that they were not going to kick Oregon's ass. And Oregon had everything in their favor, and because we're talking about playing on a neutral field too.
yeah,
They got the best defensive player back who didn't play in October. All that, 34-0 at right before halftime is devastating.
yeah. That
I
was pretty
compared
bad.
it to, you remember Roy Jones' first loss against Montel Griffin,
Yep,
the
that's a
disqualification.
great analogy. That's the perfect example.
The see, and
This that's
John
the perfect.
understood where I was going, but since he ain't a boxing aficionado out there like me and you, I'm like, so Roy lost that first fight to Montel Griffin by disqualification, because he hit him
Because
on
he
the way
hit him
down.
while his
Yeah,
knee was down.
yeah,
So
why on his knee. So I said, you know why I don't even count that loss? What did Roy Jones do in a rematch?
it was a debauchery. It was a
first
whooping.
round
First
knockout.
round, it was over. He got in the ring and didn't
You can
remember
tell
leaving.
by his body language. Roy wasn't doing none of that step back chicken fighting stuff.
Nope.
He was stalking him. He wasn't gonna last past round one.
No.
First time he hit him, he flew across the ring. You know.
Yep.
So yes, there is a difference.
No, I didn't debate nothing you said. There is a difference, but like I said, you can't discredit they win because when you are the big dog, you can't let those things happen. You're supposed to win. Those are games you're supposed to win. Yes, Oregon had to pull every trick out the bag as they should. You're playing against Ohio State,
And Dan Lanning was jumping all around and
so
stuff,
that's what I'm
acting
saying.
like he hadn't won a game before as a head coach and all of that. And then this is why I
That was
have
his
no
first. But
defense.
Al,
No.
you got to realize that was his first big game win. His first of all.
What I
First
gotta
big game
realize
win.
is what he said even after the game in the Rose Bowl. He could have took the high road and just admitted, "Hey, we got our ass kicked today." Went on about his business, which everybody knows. But he had to summarize it by saying, "It just wasn't our day today." No, it wasn't. It had nothing to do with that. You lost to a better football team. Ain't got nothing to do with. You could have played that game, 5 days in a row, and that was going to be the outcome. You lost to a better team. Wasn't our day, just like it wasn't their day against Michigan. Okay, so you have just ripped your ass with Buckeye Nation permanently, which I know he doesn't really care about. But you stuck your foot in your mouth when you could have just took it.
Because I don't know if they're going to be as good next year.
And you
They're
got
going to
Ream
take a
saying the
slide
stat
next year.
book, right? The stat book, Ream. The stat book is going to say that the Ohio State Buckeyes won the national championship this year. They take care of business on Monday. That's what it's going to say. I mean, you can keep focusing on November 30th, and again, I feel the same way as you, Reem. I really do.
That's their Super Bowl, too, though. Yeah.
I know. That's the sad part. But I feel the same way as him. I think it's stupid, though, with them 5 losses. But you have to get up for that game. But it happened. Okay. There still has to be a national championship crown this year, and it will not be Michigan. So be happy with your second national championship since color TV was invented, and I hope that it does not take that long, for you to get another one. But that's where things are right now, and that is in the stat book also, Rain, which can't be denied. 1948
Did
to
you?
that. Well, I gotta finish, Nate. 1948 to that split national championship in '97 was a long time.
Can y'all hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. You sound distorted. Well, I can hear you.
You kind of cut out, Nate. Then you came back in. Yeah, Nate got to come back in. 1948 to that split national championship in 1997 was a long time, Reem. And 97 to 2000, what was it, 23?
Right.
Was a long time also. I know it don't feel like it to us because that was our era, but it was.
It was a long time.
And honestly, look, I'm happy that y'all beat Roll Tide and continued this, pounding of the SEC that nobody wants to talk about, Reem. So you can keep talking all that jazz, but at the end of the day, nothing I said was factually incorrect.
Mm-hmm.
That's why we call this factual opinion. Brother Dewan said, hey, look, if again, call me on my lies, Brother Dewan. Go look up anything I'm saying. You know I do this. Go look up anything I said. I didn't say anything that wasn't factually correct. I may have a spin on it because of my rooting interest, but at the end of the day, it happened. I love Reeves so much, boy. He always adding to my fuel, man. Winning his team in college football history. You know what's funny about that is Michigan fans always say that, and they bring up the 12 national championships. And I say again, it happened. You can't discount it. That is true. You can't discount
Hear
that. I can hear you.
me? I can't hear nothing.
It sounds distorted though.
Yeah, we can hear you. It sounds
I,
distorted.
you know, but I got to get this out. I love that because for the longest, even before their championship last year, Michigan fans would always say 11 national championships, and I'm like, but most of y'all can't even tell me when they happened, other than Charles Woodson during our lifetime. And I'm like, I know because I know Wolverine history. I could argue I probably know it better than some Michigan fans. I'm like, again, if you have to go back to a time where they didn't even have face masks, and what did they wear, Big John?
Cardigans.
Okay,
They was
shout out to Mr. Miller for that.
it was
Yeah,
still Jim Crow, cats was dying of polio, all kind of stuff.
them gourmet turtlenecks. Jim Thorpe was out there playing. People was
Right.
getting cut by them original football cleats and dying because they didn't have penicillin back then.
Nigga, that
You
was
know,
Red Grange was out here.
exactly.
The Galloping Ghost.
This is all facts, though. Like every college football or every university didn't even have a college football program. It was glorified rugby back then. So again, it happened, but I just can't
Yeah.
stand when people sit there and are quoting wins from the 1800s when there were like 12 teams out there in turtlenecks and long cleats, single T formation against each other. Like, I mean, like, come on, like, be realistic about it. Like, I mean, okay if you want to count that, but that is when the vast majority happened. I mean, 1948 to 1997 to 2024. Like, again, I'm not joking when I say that. Like, that's legitimate. You've won 2 national championships since color TV was invented.
That's facts.
There's no debating that. There's no comeback. There's no, oh, I got to throw a barb in here because I root for Michigan. Like, that's facts. Like, there is no comeback for that.
You want to hear something funny? So I used to mess with Coach Sharp because that was our offensive line coach at Schroeder. Coach Sharp was in his 80s, and I was messing with him. I said, Coach Sharp, when you played, y'all ain't had face masks. He started laughing. He was like, you know what, Big John, you right. So that means y'all haven't won national championships since Coach Sharp was a young man.
That's another point, Reem, that I've made because I've gotten some pushback. And normally I don't do this on the air, but I'm kind of mad at Brewski right now. But I'll let it go because he's got a friend that he's coached with at a few different schools that had the audacity to call my phone like he was Big Worm or something. A few weeks ago, upset because Georgia lost a football game, and it had nothing to do with arguing about football. I just know that as mature as I've become and as much growth as I've had, over my 38 years on this planet, it still only takes a certain amount of disrespect or activity to bring me back to my Al Boogie from the VL days. I laughed it off because I was trying to be mature and I really didn't feel any way about it at the time. But y'all know me, the more time I have to brood over something, that's actually worse for you. Because then I'm going to start thinking and then I'm going to come up with reasons why I should be upset, and the audacity of you to even call my phone after not talking to me for 2 years over some bullshit like that. So
Your Knickerbockers struggling, Al.
they are, but I'm just going to, warn that brother. I've already tried to block him to prevent that, from happening and to save him and his family. Don't ever call my phone and do no shit like that again.
But Randy, you're right about Georgia, brother. You definitely right about
it. But he's right because I've said the same thing. Tony Bray isn't on here, one of our normal followers and contributors, but he's got a friend with Coke bottle glasses that went to Walnut Hills that thinks he's the brain from Pinky and the Brain and knows everything. And he look at Nate, and he loves Georgia. Which again, I don't get. I mean, you allowed to love and root for who you want to root. I don't, care about that. What bothers me is the unrealistic. When people get trapped in their fanhood and can't, accept, facts and want to get all indignant about stuff. That's when I get, mad about it.
Why is Ogunjobi taking the final shot? Never mind. I'll be quiet. That's your Knickerbockers. That's your team. Never mind. I just got frustrated.
Herschel Walker in 1980, and then literally until that
Ain't nothing
back-to-back, the
happened after
ring
that.
just
After
just
Herschel Walker, ain't nothing happened.
the ring just printed out. Yeah, you had some good teams and produced some AJ Greens and Geno Atkins and David Pollocks and everybody else that y'all want to hoop and holler about. But I remember you losing to Michigan State and what's the running back, Big John? From Michigan State.
Duckett. TJ Duckett.
No, damn it.
What?
Le'Veon Bell.
Le'Veon Bell. My bad.
In between that, yes, you won those back-to-back titles. Can't keep, that away or discredit that. What you can do is think that Ohio State field goal kicker that had to transfer right afterwards, they gave you that championship in 2022. But, yeah. And Georgia fans want to lose their mind. I'm like, y'all just joined the party with those back-to-back.
Just join the party.
And like we talked about off the air, the two that just won those back-to-back probably wasn't talented than the other previous 4-year Georgia teams that they had. But that's another discussion.
Yeah, somebody had posted something else. I don't know why I can't see it now. I can't scroll down. Reem had said something after that. But yeah, no. So in answer to your comment, Reem, I don't love them. And that's the bad part. Like out of all the SEC programs, and I do hate most, of them, and I always have, and it ain't just about college football with me, but I won't get into to that. Tennessee and Georgia were the two that I really didn't have a problem with, or Auburn. I was kind of mutual, like on or neutral on those three. But the way those fans have acted because of those two championships, since 1980, and have acted like pure babies because they lost and weren't, that good this year. It's kind of bothered me. It's kind of made me upset. Like, you have a good coach in Kirby Smart, there. So I don't believe that they're necessarily going to fall off the bandwagon completely. I do feel like they'll be, contenders, continually going forward. But, I honestly still believe as long as Josh Heupel can keep that program together, I honestly still believe it's kind of going to go back to what, was the case when we were kids. I think that, Tennessee, LSU, Auburn, if they get the right guy in there, will, be the teams that run the SEC going forward. Now, unless something crazy happens, like Devin Brown transfers to LSU, which could be,
I was about to say that can't happen.
Henry C in the building, man. I've been looking for this guy because I know Henry gets off social media sometimes because he needs to get his mental right. I wish I could do that for real, man. But yeah, we miss you, brother. Happy to have you back in. IO, by the way, he said, "What's up, OH?" Yeah, man. Looking forward to them doing what they got to do on Monday. And I'm going to be over the top and I'm going to be outrageous because everybody else has been so critical and run their mouth and is doing what Reem is doing because, again, I want where's your brother at, John? Is he working?
Probably at the store right now. He probably left CA at the store right now.
Cal would have sit there and act like it ain't nothing. It's like, come on, bro.
It's always something.
Roll Tide.
My brother is die hard. My brother is die hard. Yeah.
You know, I asked Brother Dewan, I said, man, do you at least have, relatives or something down there? And he said, yeah. And I said, okay, well, I guess I can kind of understand, what the deal is, but whatever, man. It's gonna be tough sledding. I mean, but we've been over this though. I don't want to spend the whole time,
Oh, they
on
just fouled him on a 3-point shot.
that.
Jalen Brunson
But
start going off.
while Nate is keeping me abreast of my New York Knickerbockers and what they're doing on the hardwood, um, so I picked Detroit and the Ravens. John, who did you say you think are going to make it to the Super Bowl based on who's left?
Like I said, my first choice was the Texans and Detroit. Then I switched it to the Ravens and the Eagles, but I'm leaning towards the Ravens and the Lions. But I'm gonna stick with the Ravens and the Eagles.
Nate,
I was Detroit, and my last choice was Detroit versus the Ravens. The one prior to that was Pittsburgh versus the Eagles.
okay. At least the games have been pretty good and competitive. Can we have the Justin Herbert discussion before we pivot away from professional
Let's
football?
talk about it.
What
Let's
discussion?
talk about it.
What
Let's
discussion?
talk about it.
Well,
He's talented. He just can't get
That's
it
Big
done.
Lots versus Costco, bro.
He just can't get it done. It's not that he's not capable. He don't have talent. The previous Hall of Fame quarterback had that same problem that played for the Chargers. He was talented, put up numbers, he couldn't get it done.
The media is going to drive the narrative on certain individuals. Like, Lord, don't let Josh Allen make it to the Super Bowl.
Oh Lord. Oh,
No, they're
They're
gonna call him to
treat
go
like
in a
he's
week.
Joe Montana.
In a week, they're gonna call him to go in a week.
But you know what's funny? And I try to stay away from these things. But why is it when other quarterbacks who are dual threat guys that throw the ball, run the ball, he can't stay in the pocket, he can't do that. But when Josh Allen does it, look at him run. Look how fast he is. Look how athletic he's the second.
Look how he extends the play like Ben Roethlisberger.
What's the funny way of calling a Caucasian brother fast? He's deceptively athletic. Deceptively.
I hate
that, bro. I hate that. And that's no shot at Josh Allen, bro. You a dog. Not taking it away from you. It's not you. It's the people that follow you is the problem. It's not you. Because you are a great athlete. You came from Wyoming when nobody wanted you. You balling out. You playing at an MVP level. It's not you, big dog.
Who is it, Big John?
And the Eagles too.
You said the fan base.
It's the fan base and the media and some of the powers that be.
Before we jump down that rabbit hole, and we all know why, I want to comment on what Henry C said, because I don't know if he was part of the episode earlier when we pointed out the three most disregarded or devalued running backs by their previous employers have all contributed mightily to their current team's success and why they all have advanced to the divisional round. Speaking of King, Henry, Saquon, and Joe Mixon. So, if the Eagles advance, certainly Saquon is going to be the difference. And them getting through whatever petty locker room drama they had, last year that caused them to nosedive. Because this is still, with the addition of Saquon, pretty much, by and large, the same group that made it to the Super Bowl a couple, years ago and came up, short. But no, I think all of them have complemented their team really well. I think Derrick Henry is taking some pressure off of Lamar Jackson for sure.
Oh, for sure. And you give a guy like Saquon, and I'm not saying he's this person, so don't jump at me. You give a guy like Saquon who had to run for his life in the Giants and have to be Barry Sanders with the Giants and turn around and he could be Emmitt Smith with the Eagles and not get touched for the first 5 or 6 yards. Of course, he's going to compliment them well.
Yeah.
That's when he has one of the best offensive lines in the league right now.
I was talking to Bearcats legend New York City. Henry would love this. New York City hoop legend Kenny Satterfield. And I remember at the beginning of the year when I hit Sat Up, I was saying, "Man, what you think about them adding Saquon Barkley?" And he's like, "Nothing." He wasn't a big fan of it. He didn't think it was going to put him over the top. So I hit him up a couple weeks ago, and I'm like, "Yeah, what about Saquon now, brother Kenny?" He's like, "Don't jinx it."
Hey, it takes a strong man to admit when he's wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sat is a real one. But yeah, he's loving what his Eagles are doing right now. Yeah, I've been on this campaign with them not devaluing the running back position because see the NFL and teams are doing it for a reason. There's a business model behind it. It's like everything on why they're doing it. Offense sells tickets, but particularly where we're at right now with the rule changes and stuff, they want the quarterbacks to be out there. They want the basketball on grass type field. They want a lot of passing yards, touchdowns through the air. So Saquon and King Henry and guys like that are throwback. And Joe Mixon has always, since he came into the league, been one of the most versatile, backs in the league. He's lucky I wasn't his head coach. Because if I was his head coach, he might not even be playing right now. And what I mean by that is I love Joe Mixon so much, and I think he's an every down back that can catch out of the backfield, can run the ball, can do everything. Like I would have used him a lot more than Cincinnati did. So I don't know that he would have had anything left in the tank to go to the Texans if I was his head coach here in Cincinnati.
Right.
Like I'd have run him into the ground. But no, I'm thinking that that's going to be the discussion going forward. If Josh Allen gets in there, they're going to give him favorable treatment. Justin Herbert, as I've continued to say the past few years, needs to not be talked about until he wins the damn playoff game. And even then, I think he needs to do a little bit more than that at this point.
He's going to
And
have
I'm not even trashing him. I just think like they keep talking about him, and it's like, why are we talking about a guy that hasn't won a playoff game? Treat him like y'all treated Andy Dalton.
And here's the thing, and I know you can chalk it up to a lot of coaching, but if he ain't gonna win for a while because he doesn't have the team around him. Number two, if you couldn't win with Mike Williams, Keenan Allen, and all the weapons he had before,
that's really what
you're not winning now. You had probably one of the better receiving cores for the beginning of your career. Now you don't have that anymore. Your best receiver, and this is no shot at him, your best receiver is Ladd McConkey.
A rookie.
That is your best receiver. And no shot at him. Ladd is a dog, but he's your best receiver.
Yeah, he'll probably he won't win offensive rookie of the year because Jaden.
You had a technician route runner in Keenan Allen. You had an athletic specimen in Mike Williams, and you could not get it done.
But Mike Williams, I'm gonna give him. I'll say one thing: Mike Williams couldn't stay healthy.
And you had a better than average running back.
Better than average running back.
And you had a better average running back in Eckler.
You had Eckler. At one point in time, you had Eckler and Melvin Gordon. And then if you want to add the tight ends, Palmer and the other guys you've had too, there's no excuse. But going back to what we said, they've been wanting this Mahomes and Allen thing since they both got into the league, and it hasn't been panning out because Joe's been wrecking the party. Big Trust, the 2-time MVP, possibly third time.
Let's make this the 3-time MVP now.
Joe
because even the league seen it. That's why they made him.
Joe Burrow was the MVP this year, but go ahead.
He was. Huh? I ain't going against that.
I said Joe Burrow was the MVP this year.
They're gonna shit on him.
I don't have no problem with that. I still will give you the trust, but I don't have no problem with that. But like I said, they've been wanting this Mahomes and Allen thing for years. Burrow been wrecking the party.
Josh Hart triple-double.
Big Trust been wrecking the party. Hell, at one point in time, the year he had, Jalen Hurts been wrecking the party. They've been wanting this Allen and Mahomes thing for so bad, and it's not happening.
saw a stat that Jim Nance said on what was it, Saturday when the Bills played, that their record all time at home was 14-3 in the playoffs. Because you know how hard it is to play up there in the cold, and all them teams with, the juice, and then the '90s with Jim Kelly, Bruce Smith, and all them Hall of Famers, Andre Reed. But John Elway never won there in the playoffs. Joe Montana never won there in the playoffs. But you know who did?
Boomer.
Joey B.
Oh yeah. Ruby.
Now the Bills came here to Cincinnati and lost to the Boomer. Yeah, I got to keep the conversation going. I hate to do this, but I'm getting old. I got to go to the bathroom real quick. So
Go ahead.
keep the
All right,
conversation
man, do
going.
what you do, man. All right. There you go.
But no, I really feel that Buffalo. I think Buffalo can. If Buffalo gets past Big Trust, if a real big if, I think Buffalo will beat Patrick Mahomes in them.
Really, I wish Houston just take out the garbage and just beat Kansas.
I do too. Oh man, I just said that to Amber today.
I don't think.
I hope Houston brings that same defense they just brought this past week.
I don't think they will. They have a shot. They had a better shot before the injuries and the stuff that they had. I really hope Houston just take out the track because I don't want to see Mahomes in the Super Bowl. I don't want to see them keep putting the camera on Taylor Swift.
I'm sick of the Taylor Swift.
I don't want to see that.
I'm sick of that dirty red they wearing and that dirty yellow.
And it's crazy, man, because I remember, man, back when Kansas City first started winning, and I'm a big Andy Reid guy, so I was happy for Andy. And I'm not saying I want them to do bad, man, but I'm just tired of seeing them. I'm really just want somebody.
Yeah, I think that's really what it is. I think everybody just kind of tired of seeing Kansas City in this situation.
And it happens because that when you have success, that's what happens. So we was joking about, man. Nate said if he thinks if Buffalo can get past the Ravens, that they can beat the Chiefs this year. I said, you know what? I really hope the Texans take out the garbage and just beat them anyway.
Yeah,
I would prefer that because, again, like you said, if Josh Allen does that, they're going to crown this dude the next Tom Brady, and he ain't even in the discussion. And I'm not trying to crap on Josh Allen, but like you said, the way the media wants this to be the new Manning and Brady rivalry so bad, and it's so obvious. And it's like they hate Joe Burrow.
Yeah.
For crashing the party. Joe Burrow is like, in the 80s in the NBA where it was the Celtics and Lakers, joint dynasty. And then the Pistons came along and everybody hated them because it's like, wait a minute, you ain't even supposed to be here right now.
Ain't even supposed to be in this conversation.
Right.
That's how they treat Joe Burrow.
Right. Yeah, but I really hope with that young defensive Texans guy, I don't want to mess up his name, but number 51, Allen, can get back there to him and cause havoc. I really want them to just take out the garbage.
Henry said, I feel the winner of the Ravens Bills probably win the AFC. Good chance. The only thing is you can't discount Kansas City until they're out of it because they do find a way and they do have the experience. And like El DeBarge or not, he's still the guy.
So Alex, I know the answer to this, and I know you're gonna give me the right answer. How do you beat a great team with a great quarterback?
Well, number one, you limit the amount of possessions they have and limit their ability to be on the field, sort of like Michigan did with Ohio State, is you keep that prolific offense off the field. But first of all, you have to get to him.
Mm-hmm.
You shorten the game by, running the ball. Time of possession needs to be in your favor. You can't turn, the ball over. And then you had to have a little luck
for sure.
on top of it.
So the reason why I asked you that question is, and I don't know why they did it, and we had this conversation a lot about teams getting cute and not playing to their identity. The last year, the Ravens pissed down their leg, for a better word, because they worked themselves. They tried to get cute, tried to do it run the ball. Now you have the biggest, baddest Pepsi machine with legs running the ball. If you don't feed King Henry and keep Mahomes off the field and do what you need to do, and to his credit, Big Trust is playing better than he did last year. Passing and running. So now, like you said, it's no excuse. And you give him Henry. If you don't keep Mahomes off the field, run down their throat, shorten the possessions, and beat them, I feel like the Ravens have a better chance to beat them than the Bills because, and this is no shot at the young man Cook because Delvin's little brother James Cook, he's a dog too. Don't get it twisted, but he's not King Henry. He's not Lamar Jackson. So, and Josh Allen can run the ball too, but it's not the same with the Ravens.
It ain't.
They
pay attention to Josh Allen a lot.
Yeah, I think Lamar Jackson has to be part of the run game.
Oh, for sure. For sure. And he will be, but that's why they can't have another showing like last year, try to get too cute, have Lamar throwing in the double and triple coverage to prove a point. No.
Yeah.
No.
So Brother Henry said a Zay Flowers plan. I looked this up earlier, Henry. So they said that he had a noticeable limp after the game, and he has not practiced all week for the Ravens. Normally, if guys are going to play, they like to see them practice at least once by Wednesday. So it's looking like he's questionable at best, for the game.
They can beat the Bills without Flowers. They probably saving him for Kansas City. They can't beat Kansas City without Flowers.
But I mean, if he could play, I would assume that he would, suit up this week. I know.
I don't think he's playing at all in the playoffs. They said that was a significant injury.
Well, we'll see. Of course, a lot of teams like to keep it close to the vest around this time of year, also. But from everything that I read and saw, it was pretty significant, and he hasn't practiced all week, so I don't see him practicing tomorrow. And if you're not Steve McNair or Brett Favre, they usually don't let you just practice on Friday and then play on Sunday.
And then play on Sunday. No, that usually ain't how it is.
Did they say? I know it's a leg injury, but did they say what it was, or did they say
his knee?
I mean, yeah, it's his knee. But did they say anything? Was it serious? Was it severe? Was it? Or they just keeping it close?
They keeping the doors closed because they ain't really releasing no info on it.
Yeah,
I think he did something to that knee though.
This came from CBS Sports when I was, reading it earlier. They didn't specify what the injury was to the knee. They just said a significant, noticeable, limp, and that he has not practiced all week since sustaining the injury. So obviously it's pretty significant, and the Ravens aren't wanting to put it, out there. I mean, he'll be listed on the injury report, but it's not looking like he's going to play.
Yeah. Well, I hope we get back for the KC game if Houston don't knock him out. But yeah.
Well, we're gonna have some interesting games either way, and like I said, come Monday, if everything goes the way that I expect it to go, I'm gonna be unbearable. So just know that, and Reem can post all that stuff from the 1800s, all he wants to make himself feel better, and yeah, you won that game, yeah. Brother Sharon can go to the basketball game and do the, like he's planting the flag and all of that, and I'm like, okay, brother. Let's see what happens. Yeah, I paid $10 million. Everybody want to talk about what Ohio State paid to keep its own roster intact. Michigan paid $10 million for one player to try to stay relevant. And then people act like he's going to come in and start, right away, in year one. I mean, he could because they don't have a quarterback, but, the odds of them doing that really is slim to none. But anyway, yeah, I'm going to be unbearable. And I have my cigars in place, Nate. I actually got a few for you and Big John for when we get back to the studio and celebrating season 5 in general. I know Big John ain't a big cigar smoker, but
What kind you got?
I got the Madura Brick House
Oh, okay.
Nicaragua. So those are my favorite, the chocolate. But I know those are a little intense for certain people. I might even smoke one tonight. Who knows? But um,
It's a
moving
little
on
chilly
from
outside.
the sports talk just a tad bit. Um, what Brother Henry say? It's for that Irish pack. Yeah, between Nate and Jeff, man, they got me on these cigars now, man. Cigar Lounge out there in Sharonville for anybody local. It's a good
House of
spot to pick up
Cigars in
some.
Sharonville. Yeah.
Yep. Um, so something we haven't done in a very long time, man. We used to try to talk, maybe not equal, but like 60-40, 70-30, sports music. We just haven't had a whole lot of opportunity. And to be honest, like hip hop has come to a point where it's kind of boring to me unless it's our old stuff that we're talking about. And I hate to be the Joe Button of the world, but it is what it is. So, a couple seasons ago, we did our top 5. I had you guys give me your top 5 greatest MCs or hip hop artists of all time. I hope you all remember who you chose as your top 5. I know mine because it never changes. But I said, well, to end the show, we'll do a quick segment. Give me 6 through 10,
Mm.
and we'll
Okay.
keep going. Throughout the episodes, because I really want to round out the top 20 because everybody has like a top 5, a top 10, but they stop there. I want to go on down the list. I want to know where people like Missy Elliott and other people that don't get talked about as much as they should rank on certain people's lists. Where does DMX rank on certain people's lists? Like I want to have those discussions, and then some of these younger people in there. Some people like Aubrey. You guys know I'm not particularly an Aubrey fan, but and if you don't know who I'm talking about, I'm calling Drizzy by his real name, his government name. You shaking your head, Nate? That's the brother's name. Now I didn't name him. That's his name. His name is Aubrey.
I know him from the guy off the grassy, the guy in the wheelchair.
Off the Nickelodeon sitcom. That's who I know. Or the cheesy Sprite rap commercial.
He did do that. I forgot about that.
And then all of a sudden he's famous and the world's
Drake's
biggest
in my
rapper.
top 10, so I don't even care.
Ooh. We don't have to go
You
back
see
over the
John
top.
head change, like, bro.
We
But
don't have to.
here's the thing: I'm he's not high on my list, but I'm not a Drake hater.
I ain't no Drake hater either. I'll hate his guts, but I ain't no Drake hater.
I don't dislike him. And at one point in time, I actually listened to him heavy. I'm not a Drake hater.
So John, really quickly, and don't go Michael Eric Dyson on me. Do you remember who your top 5 was, just to
Yeah, mine,
refresh the
mine,
audience?
yeah, mine doesn't necessarily change either. I had Jay-Z 1, Big 2, Nas 3, Eminem 4, and I took Andre off 5 and I put Kiss and Styles P 5A and 5B was my 5.
Nate, do you remember your top 5 really quickly that you rated
Jay
greatest hip
Z,
hop?
Punk, Biggie, uh, Jada Kiss was up there, and I'm missing somebody. Oh shoot, I can't remember who my
You
fifth
probably
was.
said Ludacris.
Nah, Ludacris, he number 11.
Okay. Well, I remember my top 5 because I'm stubborn and stuck in my time, so it never changes. I said Pop number 1, Big number 2, Jay number 3, Ice Cube number 4, and um,
Aubrey.
No, I did not put Aubrey number 5. I put Nas number 5.
All right. You ready to go to 6 through 10 now?
6 through 10. Let me have it.
Nas. See, I'm from that trap era, so Jeezy is my 7. I'm from that trap era. I can't deny it. Andre is 8. 9 is Eminem. And Wayne was 10. I'm not. My homeboys go probably grill me because I got Wayne so low.
Louise.
Wayne so low, but Wayne had to grow him. It took him years. It took some years for him.
Ooh, Weezy Wee. Big John, 6 through 10, please.
6 through 10. Okay.
The
6.
butcher.
And try to do it where I can put it in a clip, please. So 6 through 10.
I got you. 6 through 10. 6 through 10. I would put them, but nah, that maybe later on. 6 through 10. Clifford Harris. I'm gonna go with Tip. 6. 7. I'm gonna go with Pun for 7. 8.
Ooh.
8. I'm going to go with, and this is a curveball, just like I did the 5A and 5B with Styles and Jada. I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna say this is just my preference. I'm gonna do Big Crit and I'm gonna do Cole. So where we at? 6, 7, 8. So what was that? 8 right there?
I'm just confused that you put.
Did you just do a 7A and then a 7B? Is that what
Yes,
you
I
just
did.
did?
I did it for Styles and Kiss. Yeah, I did.
Now, I know you like Big Crit, but you really just put this man in your top 10 hip hop artists of all time.
Yes, I did.
He a big Crit fan.
Yes, I did. I put him and Cole right there.
Got 3 more.
8. I'm gonna go. 8. I'm gonna go. Raekwon. 9. I'm gonna go Ghostface, and 10. I'm gonna go DMX.
Okay. Impressive list outside of Big Crit.
There you go.
You didn't.
I left X off because he was like right there by. He was at like 10 or 11.
Now you didn't do it quick enough for me to put you in a clip, but that's all right, Big John. I just use mine. So 6 through 10 for me, I'm going to use everybody's government name when I do this. So at number 6, I have Calvin Broadus. At number 7, I have Dwayne Carter. At number 8, I have Marshall Mathers. At number 9, I have Clifford Harris. And at number 10, I have Todd Smith.
7 is kind of high for you and Wayne.
I know. I was thinking about that. Definitely was thinking.
I mean, I don't have to be his biggest fan to, acknowledge that the brother's dope, and the impact that he had on hip hop. But in my opinion, and that's just, my top 10. And if people don't know, who those individuals are, since I did name them by their government name, that would be, Snoop Dogg, it's Calvin Broadus. We all know who Dwayne Carter, is, Lil Wayne. Number 8, Marshall Mathers, of course, is Eminem. Number 9, Clifford Harris, of course, is T.I. And at number 10, Todd Smith is the great LL Cool J.
Ladies love Cool J.
And we say, dang, no Fab.
So
Fab is going to come.
That 15.
I don't want to give away, what we're going to do 11 through 15 next.
Right.
I don't want to give it, but Fab is getting warm on my list.
Yeah, he's definitely warm up.
And because y'all kept stopping me, I couldn't do my list fast. But yes. Yes.
So I did not stop you.
You did a 7A, 7B. That was you.
Bro, you stopped me once and Nate stopped me once. But if you want me to go through it again, I said Tip, Pun, Big Crit and Cole, Raekwon, Ghostface, and DMX.
I shouldn't even be allowing these 1A, 1Bs when we doing these.
That's just Big John. It ain't me.
What he say? What Lil Wayne say? It's my cup. Whatever I want in my cup, don't worry about what's in my cup. It's my list.
I don't care if there's heroin in my cup. It's my cup.
You know.
No, I mean that's not a bad list. I mean, personal preference. Now it'd be different if I was saying favorites, but I was saying greatest. That's why I was surprised that you put, Crit in there. I'm like, I'm
a writer.
Crit's
I
pretty
love
lyrical.
words.
Crit is lyrical though.
I just like, and he's talented. He makes beats. He does a lot of stuff. He does a lot of stuff behind the scenes as well. So it's my guy.
Because I could put Pun in there, and I could put to get really random, I could put Tyler the Creator in there.
Mm-hmm. It's a lot of guys that I can put in there that aren't necessarily had a lot of commercial success, but I wouldn't, it is what it is.
You missed it, Brother Darren. Well, first of all, let me announce Brother Darren, who should be coming on the show pretty soon. We got Schroeder Jaguars head coach, varsity football coach, Brother Darren Sellers in the house, fresh off leading the Jaguars to 7-3 record, tying the second greatest record in school history, of which me and Big John were on that league championship team. Happy to have Brother Darren in the house. Man, you missed it. We talked about everything. First of all, we talked about we talked about them Buckeyes, and are going to continue to talk about them leading up to Monday and what should be the school's 9th national championship in school history. We talked about who our Super Bowl favorites are remaining in the divisional round of the NFL playoffs. Congratulated Urban Meyer on being selected to the 2025 College Football Hall of Fame. Also, Tyson Fury, the Gypsy King, announcing his retirement, former heavyweight champion of the world, who brought life back to the heavyweight division. Talked about Ryan Garcia and Devin Haney on the verge of signing up for a rematch and dropping the lawsuit on that. Did I miss anything, fellas, as far as what we talked about today?
We just did our 6 through 10 in hip hop.
Oh yeah, we did 6 through 10 because previously in another season we had talked about and gave our top 5 greatest hip hop artists of all time, and I wanted to circle back on that, so we did 6 through 10 today.
And man, I gotta kind of slant, East Coast bias. So there's a whole bunch of guys I could have named.
IO.
Yeah, I'm the only person that had a West Coast artist in the top 5 and top, 10, trying to do away with that bias.
Yeah.
That the rest of y'all cats have.
No, Nate don't have that bias. I have an East Coast bias. Nate like that jungle noise down south stuff.
Hold on, man. You ain't gonna call it jungle noise. You ain't gonna do that, man. Don't call that jungle noise.
That jungle.
You already got it.
But I had 2 down south artists on my list. Actually 3 if you count Cole, because he's from North Carolina. But I had Tip, I had Big Crit, and I had Cole. Cole is a Southern artist, but he has a little East Coast flair.
I had 2. I had Dwayne Carter and T.I., in there repping for the South, in my top 10.
Yeah.
I'm not a huge down south guy. I mean, it has to be specific.
I am, because I almost put A-Ball and MJG in the category.
See, and they're legends, so I'm not trying to, talk about them like they're not. But, for me, like, there's just certain people, like, I had to feel like it has to be, Outkast or T.I. or
I got 3 stacks in my
Scarface, list. People like that, who, now again, not to give anything away, but will be.
Oh yeah, prayers for Scarface. I just seen he had a heart attack a little while ago.
He's had health issues for the past.
In the last 2-3 years.
I want to say almost that, maybe even longer than that.
Because I seen him on that Legends tour. That was the last time I had seen him. and they said he had a heart attack right after that. That was like 3 years ago.
Prayers to face, man. I hate to lose him, man. So many people, and also if Brother Darren is still here, we were just talking about in general, man, the need for people to, uh, bury the hatchet, and if you can fix, a disagreement with somebody, particularly somebody you love and care about or have history with, do it, man, because we're all getting to that age, at least, for the major people that tune in and are in our demographic, we all getting to that age where we getting up there ourselves and we're starting to lose people that have been around us for a long time. We lost Brother John Bennett, another Schroeder alum, recently had his celebration of life or funeral, was
Last
last
weekend.
Friday, Big John.
Yep.
He played at Schroeder also. Was a very good chef. So just that, man. And that's my advice to everybody. Because like I said, I, reached out after one of my former homeboys, contacted me on social media. And we kind of, squashed and talked about our thing, man. Life is too short, man, to, hold on to a lot of stuff. Now, I maintain what I said about that Georgia boy calling my phone like you some straight up G after 2 years, and Brewski can get mad and not want to talk to me, because they're him coaching buddy or whatever, But at the end of the day, I maintain what I said. It ain't about football; it's about respect. So,
And while we giving prayers out for like for guys like Scarface, man, prayers to Randy Moss, man. One of my
Yeah,
favorite
man.
football players. We got that bad news about him having cancer, man. And that's like seeing one of your childhood superheroes get sick, man.
Yeah, that
That's
hurt
not,
my soul, man.
I be me, the young guy, loving football. Randy Moss was one of the first jerseys I bought with my own money, and I ain't really had that much back then, but I scratched up enough to get me a Randy Moss jersey. So for sure, man,
Yeah,
get
Randy
ready.
Moss is probably my favorite NFL player of
I
all
had the
time.
Randy Moss starter jersey. I love Randy. He's one of my favorite wide receivers of all time. As I've always said about Randy, the most naturally gifted wide receiver I've ever seen in my life
For sure.
is Randy Moss.
Right.
Now, my favorite wide receiver of all time, of course, is Terrell El Dorado Owens. But I always said they were like equals,
Right.
They were
during
one and
their
two.
run.
They were 1 and 2 for several years.
Yeah,
Several years.
you couldn't go wrong with either one.
Mm-mm.
But and I also love Randy and To because me being the kind of guy that I am, um, very forthright and wear your emotions on your sleeve, and I always felt like I was misunderstood to a certain degree too. Now, yes, there were some things that both of them did that you couldn't necessarily defend, but I think at the end of the day, they are both good dudes, whether people want to believe that or not.
For sure.
And just again, keeping it strictly about on the field, how could you not?
He's a goat.
Right. And people may not understand, but their teammates love them. They know they're good people. Their teammates love them. You ain't never heard, a guy come out and say bad anything about them as teammates. Now I know T.R. had a little beef with, who,
Donovan.
but come to find out, he was the damaging party. Um, but yeah, man, it's they teammates love them, man. So they know they're good people, man.
T.O. had more beef than just for Donovan McNabb,
Yeah,
but
it's a list. He had a
I mean,
list.
yeah, but it wasn't like people was trying to make it. Is my point. You know.
and him and Hugh Douglas actually
Through hands.
traded blows in that Philadelphia locker room.
The Central State
Shout out
song.
to Hugh Douglas, the Central State Marauder. No, but I love T.O. I love Randy. Prayers to him and anybody else battling, that wicked disease of cancer, going forward. So, well, we talked about a lot today, fellas. I hope that everybody enjoyed. Remember, if you missed the live stream or can't watch, on YouTube or Facebook. We do have the audio that will be uploaded on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, and Amazon Music. So literally, we are everywhere where we need to be, and everywhere where you can access us easily. We appreciate all the love, the support, everybody who tuned in, everybody who will watch it after the fact. We love y'all. Should be a surprise going forward. I won't necessarily put it out there, but there is a strong possibility that we'll be back to doing some episodes live in person in the studio. So shout out to Timeless Recording Studio and engineer brother EJ, and of course the man X himself um, doing it over there at Timeless. So from us to y'all again, we appreciate the support. We ran a little long this episode, but we had a lot to talk about. So we'll try and do it better the next time. Signing out to next episode.
Yes, sir.
Peace.